Welcome back, gamers, to another Lich Hunter episode. I don't always do fancy little intros, but felt it was appropriate for this one, seeing as it will be the final video in the Lich Hunter series. Some of you may at my choice being Valkyr instead of X-Frame. Korra. Regardless of the frame I chose for this particular episode, I still think Inaros is the go-to if you want to get rid of liches with minimal effort and hassle. So if that's what you're looking for, I suggest checking out part 4 of the series if you haven't already. Links in the description. With that said though, I do think Valkyr is a unique addition. We'll talk about her abilities, builds, and even the little Subsume experiment that I attempted. I am going to try to shoot for 8 minutes here at least. Timestamps are in the description as always if you need them. Otherwise, I do appreciate you staying with me throughout the video. Some of you more hardcore Valkyr mains out there are probably gonna cringe because up till the point of making this video and testing the builds, I have never really put time into learning Valkyr, so you could call me a newbie here in that respect. But one thing I've found out about her is how nice she is to use when you just want to play Warframe angry, if that makes sense. Most of you know how tiresome it can get when farming liches, annoying enemies, and RNG. I mean, it's not really meant to be done in one sitting, but with Valkyr, I did just zone out to the point that the lich was already rank 5 before I knew it. Keep in mind that a lot of the things I say are subjective opinions and hyperbole, but if you're gonna be grinding for liches or lich weapons and ephemeras, just load her up with your favorite build, 2 to 3 hour long mix of your favorite metal tracks. You're good to go. Little things like her ability to hook in enemies and just flat out go invincible literally is as close as you'll get to giving the finger to D's abomination that is the Kuva Lich system. I do appreciate what Valkyr brings to the table here, and IMO, she's more interesting than any of the newer frames from the past few months. Except Gauzet, of course. Here's the build that I finally settled on. Now don't go screenshotting this and closing the video. I do want to explain some of the mod choices here. And yes, there is no prime to sure-footed because I'm saving up Forma for something else. My approach with this build is to go for as long as possible with Hysteria activated. Preferably never deactivating throughout an entire mission, which I managed to do in a 5-minute Kuva Lich survival actually. Both fleeting expertise and streamlined together here may seem excessive, especially with primed flow in there as well, but trust me, Valkyr's a really hungry girl, especially when she's angry. Primed continuity is something you could replace with Valkyr's Eternal War augment. 123% duration is just enough for you to hit both 2 and her 3 and clear a small group of high armored enemies. Finally, Speed Drift is here alongside Natural Talent because, well, it's because of the polarity really. I didn't initially decide to build a Valkyr for Lich Hunting, so the polarities are kinda messed up. Again, I'm a little short on Forma here, and as nice as Valkyr is, I don't see myself going with her as my main anytime soon. And with all that said, you can clearly see here that there's plenty of room for improvement, and that's not even including the empty locked augment slot. This is by no means an ultimate build that can't be improved upon. That's my chroma build. Please change the mods if and where necessary to whatever you feel like makes sense to you. Maybe you'd like more strength, then swap out both the casting speed mods for umbral mods. Maybe you like more speed, then just go with something like Rush. Whichever route you go though, I'd urge you to keep range as close as possible to 100%, and there's good reason. You see that? That's not exactly Valkyr's ripline. That's Ember's Fire Blast. Now admittedly, I didn't put too much thought into it and have just started screwing around with the helmet. I thought some form of armor stripping or armor reduction would be cool, so I just slapped that on Valkyr and it works great, to be honest. It has a base radius of 25 meters, which is more than adequate, IMO. The energy consumption though is kinda high, so I definitely used it sparingly. I looked at Gara's Spectral Rage, plus the augment, but energy is pretty much taken care of with this build, plus a couple of other really important things that I'll mention in just a bit. Do let me know what sorts of abilities you'd have subsumed on your Valkyr for running high level missions. I'd love to read those. One of the most important things to pair with this build in order to make it work really well is the Parazon mod Blood for Energy. Combos ridiculously well with Arcane Energize. It should almost immediately make sense to you why this mod is absolutely needed, considering most of what Lich Hunting is it's just mass stabbing blue Grineers. As far as focus cools go, I chose Zenrik. Yes, I do realize that the energy regen benefits won't be utilized to best effect, but void dashing real quick just before going into Hysteria does help slow the energy drain for a few seconds, which is I'm just gonna say this one's truly personal preference. For companions, good old Death Cube Prime makes yet another appearance, and it's for the energy orbs, of course. It may seem like overkill at this point, but like I said, I didn't have any energy problems going with all these things that I'm suggesting to you. If you'd like to go with something like a Darza Kavad with the crit mod, that would be great too, and a cat would probably survive longer than Death Cube Prime, because as you go into invincibility mode, the chances of your sentinel getting focused on and killed goes up by a lot. So be kind to Death Cube and give him a primed regen if possible. Weapons don't matter too much since we're going to be relying primarily on Valkyr's talons. I did decide on a corrosive build of Redeemer Prime anyways, just to take out those stubborn heavy gunners. And I couple that with a Kuva Hind because this thing is actually decent. It's been in my inventory for a while now, but only recently I've realized that it's actually potent against high level Grineers. Pretty good against Noxes especially. It is not necessary, but it's what I used. Finally, the talons themselves. Now this is not a very good build. Slide attacks deal massive amount of damage, but the regular E-spam felt just okay. Pretty sure there's some potential left on the table here, and with a couple of more Forma in, I could have made it better, but this works well enough. Unless your Lich is at rank 5 and resistant to the build that you have on the talons, you should be fine. Otherwise, you got the Redeemer. And that should be most of the info you'll need to go Lich Hunting with Valkyr. You're probably gonna start out missions with not a whole lot of energy, unless you built your Valkyr with preparation, like the mod preparation. If you didn't though, all you need is Energize to trigger once, and you can do that easily by looking for the closest thrall in the beginning. If things do get really intense and you somehow died while battling a rank 5 Lich surrounded by large groups of, heavy gunners and thralls and bombards, I suggest dropping a couple of energy restores immediately to get your energy levels back up quick. You don't want to be caught with little to no energy. It almost never happened to me, but in the off chance it does happen, make sure you got a backup plan. Feel free to share your own thoughts down below. If you'd like to join me and the boys on Discord and or support the channel as well, Patreon and merch store links are in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys real soon in the next video.